I
Hey,
love that
hey!
intro. Hey,
Look at us. We're in different seats today.
we are. What happened?
I added you back first.
You
All
know you
good.
can switch us around online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hold
just
on a
take
second.
it and pull me over, or pull whoever. You can put people where you want them. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Get back in your own seat. All
Hey,
right. How are you?
everybody. Good. I'm good.
Awesome. Let me get to the comments here. We got Debbie. Welcome in, Debbie. Good to see you.
Hey.
She says she's cooking chicken and rice and steamed vegetables
Ooh,
right now, so she's
that's
listening.
that sounds really yummy.
Yeah. We have Donna. Hey, Donna.
Hey, Donna.
And hey, Debbie again. I do not have YouTube open on another screen. So um, if you see somebody without a wrench,
I'll let
you
you
got to
know.
let me know. I
Okay.
can't, but I don't know if I can wrench them through StreamYard, can I?
No, you have to be in you can wrench them after the show, like when
Okay.
the comments start to come up, you can wrench them then, but
Okay.
you have to be in StreamYard or YouTube to wrench, unfortunately.
Awesome. So if you are on this, guys, and you are not wrenched, leave a comment on the video because when I upload this, I don't think the comments will transfer. So leave a comment on the video so I can go ahead and give you that wrench later on.
They'll transfer if you have comments turned on, but if you don't have replay comments turned on, then they don't.
Okay, I don't know if I do or not.
Okay, all
I'm a rookie.
right.
Debbie says she was going for yummy, quick and yummy, and Heather Hartman,
Hey,
welcome in,
Heather.
welcome in. Hey, FYI, at least for me, your link in the description for Facebook does not work. Now that does not make sense
Let me go in and see if it works for me.
because that's a public group. Did I get kicked out of the group? The group should still be there.
Oh no, it doesn't work for me either. Oh, you didn't you the E M.A.D.E.
M.A.D.E. I can't spell. All right, hold on one second. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll just make a note and we'll fix it afterwards. I
Okay.
think. Here's a pen. All right. Fix. Link.
Oh,
Space.
it's M.A.D. here. I'll post it in the chat. This is the Facebook group, and then he'll fix it later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I can get it through your link tree. True story. Saying, hey, Victoria posted that for us. So I left off the E?
Yeah, it's just you put M.A.D. and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like made accountability. So you left off.
Subject to human error.
Just copy and paste it next time.
Yeah, I thought I did, um, but apparently I didn't. So appreciate your patience, everyone. Looks like we have 11 folks on here. Last week I started early. It was so crazy because I thought we had to get there for that silly tree lighting at 5 o'clock. And hey, there's Marjorie. Marjorie was just
Hey,
here.
Marjorie.
She literally just left. I didn't even come out and say goodbye. I'm so sorry.
She needs a wrench whenever you get a chance.
Okay, I can definitely do
Marjorie,
that.
post a comment in the what do you call it? In the description.
On the video afterwards, she's driving, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not now.
But she's commented on my other videos, so I'll just go back and
Okay.
wrench her that way.
So you go ahead and finish your story.
Yeah, so I thought we had to go. We had to be there at 5 o'clock. They didn't light that tree until like 7 something. Heather and I ended up walking down the street about like I don't know, like a half a mile to the restaurant in town that was open where we could eat, and we ate dinner, and then we walked back up and still got there with plenty of time to spare. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so we could have gone longer, but I, had my solo debut, I guess. We're stopped at the gas station for snacks for the girls. All right. I'm gonna drink the rest of this coffee and then it'll be done.
Oh, you're good. I just made coffee.
All right, it's gone. So now nobody will yell at me for holding my coffee.
Nobody should yell at you for holding your coffee.
But I do have iced tea. I'm really not supposed to drink that much caffeine. Larry
Oh.
says he's on the way home. Well, I can drink as much caffeine as I want. Heather doesn't want me to drink a lot of caffeine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's what I mean. But I wasn't told by a doctor not to drink caffeine. But Heather's got, I think, sometimes more common sense than most doctors. So that was not a Heather bash at all. So, anyways, I got on early last week and rode without you. Didn't get very deep into it. So I think we can probably really just kind of start over. But you had some news.
I do. So the pills weren't really working alone for me because I was making bad food choices.
Sure.
So I decided Sunday night that I needed to follow some sort of a good diet plan.
Okay.
So I could make good food choices because I wasn't making them. Anyway, make me sound bad. You didn't make you sound bad. You don't sound bad. So anyway, I joined Weight Watchers. They have a thing going on, and I started on Monday. I joined Sunday night to set it all up, and I started Monday, and I've already lost over 3 pounds.
Here we go.
With the pills,
Yeah.
with the pills. So I'm very excited. Structure for optimal results for sure. Yes, and that's what they even teach us with the pills. That you have to follow a healthy diet, and I wasn't.
Sure.
So just like anything, if you don't follow a healthy diet, you're not going to lose. So I proved that.
Yeah, and honestly, whenever you pay attention to something, you're going to get results.
Right.
So, by adding that extra layer of attention to your diet, you're going to see more results. You're going to be working together, right, to get things accomplished. And I remember Heather and I went on Weight Watchers. Gosh, it was probably in 2015 or 24. No, it was before that because it was before we bought this house, and we've lived here for it'll be 11 years in January. So I'll say probably 12 years ago, we went on Weight Watchers, and we didn't go on it very long, but we saw great results right out of the gate. And it was like, well, that's what happens when you go from not paying attention to something to paying attention to something.
Exactly. And the reason I chose Weight Watchers, I don't want to limit my food choices. Because I wasn't eating cookies all day. I mean, we joke about that, but I wasn't doing that. I can't do that with my diabetes. But what was I saying? Oh, the reason I chose Weight Watchers is because I didn't want to have to limit anything. I wanted to incorporate, if there was a birthday, then, I wanted to have a small slice of cake. But so that's why I chose Weight Watchers. And I've done Weight Watchers in the past, and it works really well with my diabetes. My blood sugars have been great. So
awesome.
So yeah. Okay, Donna.
That was the thing for me on Weight Watchers was they gave me, boundaries, right? You could go, and this is what stunk for Heather versus me. My boundaries were like 2 times as big as hers, right? Because I was a big boy, like the points I could eat, it was a big number.
Right.
And where hers, she, after week 1, she got lowered in points, and she was as low as it was going to go. And so where I'm like, I can't even eat all these points. She's like, can I have some of your points? Because I'm not getting food.
Well, you know how the Weight Watchers changes their diet up a little bit? Oh, Larry, if it's high in sodium, it's because you're making it that way because you choose.
You know what he's thinking of? He's thinking of like prepared foods.
Oh, yeah. You can't eat those prepared foods all the time, Larry. Those are high.
Well, because like Nutrisystem or something like that, where, they have the diet plan, but they provide the foods. I think that's what he's
Yeah.
thinking. There is Weight Watchers foods, and
Right.
obviously, Larry, you probably just don't want to eat prepackaged food all the time, anyways.
Right. Whether
You
it's
do
Weight
it when you
Watchers.
can to.
Yeah. But to give you an example, I just stay basically low carb. Yeah, and that's the way that Weight Watchers is. When I had success with it, it was called Core, which it's called Core now, but it's a little bit different. And I can eat anything I want and stay within my month or daily points. And I'm on the
Okay.
lowest level of daily points. Like I can't have any
Yeah.
lower points. But it also, we get these weekly points that we can splurge on, like if I wanted to have a
Yeah.
birthday cake
Spread
with
them out.
Todd or whatever. So I'm trying not to use those unless it's something special. But
Sure.
yeah, it's real food is so much better. Exactly, Donna. Exactly.
Yeah, the stuff you get from the source. That's exactly what Larry was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's not what Victoria is doing.
Mm-mm.
She's just on a program that's monitoring. She's monitoring what she eats and how much of it she's eating.
Victoria actually has to cook now, which Victoria hates to do.
Yeah,
But
awesome. So let's see here. So what we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna pick up. We're gonna talk about triggers. I have 7 triggers that I wrote down, and maybe you can think of some too.
yeah.
And by triggers, right? Triggers, I think, can be defined as um, something that causes us to react, right? And sometimes our reaction is overeating. Sometimes our reaction is not eating,
Yep.
which is also just as unhealthy in your weight loss journey as overeating. And then sometimes our reaction is, other unhealthy activities. Um, so I'm going to start from the back this time because
We're gonna
I
do a
did some earlier.
countdown.
We're going to go backwards. Now, these are not in any order. The only
Okay.
order they're in is how I wrote them, right? So one I have here is a trigger could be one of happiness or celebration.
So true.
Um,
Your emotions can trigger eating.
for sure. And every party has what?
Food.
Food. Yeah. It's not a party if there's not food,
Exactly.
right? And so, unfortunately, not everybody at that party is watching what they're eating. So, unless you're going to a Weight Watchers party, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
I can remember as a kid, so I've been fat my whole life. Um, and as a kid, I went to this thing called TOPS, Taking Off Pounds Sensibly. It
I've
was a
done
weight
that
loss
before.
program.
I didn't do it very long, but my grandmother was TOPS member for years. She used it like a
Yeah.
social club, though.
Yeah, mine was too. And my mother and my father, and here I am, one of the only fat kids that were there.
Aw.
And the other fat kid was my sister.
Aw.
So I mean, there was a couple other fat kids that came and went, you know what I mean? But it was only when like older people were bringing us, right? But they were there's like you were saying, they were a social club. And
Yeah.
so it's like here we are. We're supposed to be watching what we eat, and we got to stand on the scale. And if you gain pounds, you got to pay a dime, and the person that loses the most weight gets all the dimes. And
I
and then
remember
they have
that. Yeah.
food, and then they have food. It's like, guys, like I'm
They
gonna
must have all done that because they had food at this one too. That I went for a couple of times just to try it because it wasn't going
yeah
to cost me anything if I didn't lose. I mean, if I lost weight, it wasn't going to cost me anything. Where Weight
yeah
Watchers was costing me. This was a while back when the kids
right
were younger,
exactly. I think we
and
had
I
dues
couldn't
that we
believe
had
it.
to pay. I think we
Huh?
had dues that we had to pay, but it was probably like $1 or something a month. You know what I mean, or a
Mhm.
week. It wasn't costing like stuff does today.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even there, like I'm saying, every party has food. Even the weight loss groups are having food. And it's good food or it's healthy food. But if you
It
eat too
wasn't
much,
always healthy food. I think mine had
right?
like cookies and pies and stuff too. They were celebrating some sort of a holiday, and I'm like,
So no,
heck?
yeah, you guys, all they're doing is keeping customers.
Exactly. I didn't stay there long.
Yeah. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And so
Right.
even too much good food is overeating is not good. So happiness or celebration is a trigger. Low self-esteem is a trigger.
That's true. Because you think food's going to make you feel better about yourself.
Well, and food never makes you feel bad about yourself
Well, unless you
until
look in the
after you've
mirror.
eaten it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you
And
feel guilty.
then you're reacting and you're going to eat more.
Right. Right.
Because at this point, well, what does it matter anyways? I screwed up, so I might as well just say, whatever until
Keep
I'll
at
try
it.
again tomorrow.
Right.
Um, Food never tells you that you're not good enough. Food never tells you that you're not going to make it. It doesn't make you feel bad, like I said, until you regret your choice.
The
And then
results
in
of what
most
you did.
cases,
Yeah.
yeah, it takes us to the next trigger, which is sadness or depression.
Those are big,
And
you guys. Sadness. I mean, for some people, they might not eat, but I think for the majority of people, if you're sad, think about it.
yeah,
There's a funeral, you're going to have food right after.
yeah,
I mean, a wedding, celebratory, you're going to have food right I mean, anything that we do emotion wise, you're going to have food. Food is attached to emotions big time.
yeah, you're right. And I think sadness is a cycle because I think at some point in in that cycle, and some people are going to stay there longer than others, you're just not going to eat at all. Think about it when you lose somebody close to you. You're like, I'm so sick, I can't eat.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you're eating because you want to forget why you're so sick. You're eating because you want to. If I'm eating, I'm not thinking about what's making me sad.
Right. Right.
But food is often a coping mechanism for sadness or depression. Like it's a go-to. Like that's nobody had to teach us that. Like it's a
Right.
natural thing, and
It's
you know,
instinctual. Yeah.
yeah, I know. Sadness and depression though is oftentimes linked to our health.
I never thought about that, but you're right.
When you don't feel good, you don't feel good.
Right.
And the reality is the endorphins are not being created. I have so much comments to catch up over on the other side. And I will, but uh, when you're not feeling well, your body is not producing endorphins that are going to make you happy,
Right.
content. And oftentimes people who are sick fall into depression, and it's because their body's not producing endorphins. In 2008, yeah, in 2007, I met Heather, um, and we got engaged to be married in 2008. So I met Heather, and I can tell you guys that story, that whole crazy story. Like literally, by the time we got married, I didn't even know her for a year at that point. I don't think. Um, so I met her 15 years ago. In 2008, I got C. diff colitis. It's called cholesterol difficile colitis, and it's very common in like hospitals or nursing homes. And basically, it's a bacteria infection that a lot of people get when the bacteria has been eliminated from their body. So
Gosh.
um, if you're on antibiotics a lot, it destroys good bacteria and bad bacteria. And so I had no bacteria in my body. So the good bacteria there wasn't there to fight the bad bacteria, and this virus took over. And in 6 days, I lost like 26 pounds or something like that, or 29 pounds.
Not
Um,
the way
I
you want
couldn't
to
keep,
lose it.
yeah, I couldn't keep anything in my body. I was severely dehydrated. It almost killed me. But it was literally making my mind go crazy. And I remember I would go back and forth to the emergency room. They wouldn't keep me because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I was on the phone at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with my doctor. And I said to him, I think I'm crazy. I close my eyes. The TV's off. It's dead silent in my room. And I can hear a program running in my mind. And he's like, you're not crazy. You're dehydrated. Um, and so anyways, I came through that. I got medication. And I started taking acidophilus, which Heather got me on, which is good bacteria. And I began to get better, but I would have like, anxiety, because I wasn't feeling good. And so I would be talking to the doctor. I literally, after I came home from the hospital, I ended up the next day, the day I went back to work, I drove to the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. I was essentially having an anxiety attack. I just
Mm,
didn't feel good. And so
yeah.
my doctor said, you need to, I know you don't feel like it, but I need you to start exercising. Go for a walk because exercise produces good endorphins. And so the only way to battle this trigger of sadness or depression to actually get past this point is to do something else. So we need to have something else that we turn to um, rather than food because food's
When
not going to give us those endorphins.
Right. Actually, it's going to make us feel worse because the thoughts we have, like you said, after we eat, or once we start to feel guilty about what we ate, that's going to make our thoughts even worse than what they were when we started to try and heal ourselves
Yeah,
with food.
exactly. Exactly.
Hey, Christy.
Um, yes, let's catch up on comments. We have four more to go,
Okay,
and
yeah,
then
you
we'll
got a
talk a
lot of
little bit.
comments in there.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about some things to do. Then we'll drop the link and bring some people on. All right. So, like
Yeah,
Danielle said, you can't eat a supplement. You can't supplement away a bad diet. That's correct.
exactly.
2010, we went to Weight Watchers. Donna wasn't meaning
Yeah.
you. We talked about this. Um, Catching up. Real food so much better. We know. All right. All right. Let's go here. All right. Deficiencies in general can cause depression. Correct. It's
Exactly.
amazing how much mentally is tied to physical health. Um, this is gut is the second brain. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Christy, welcome in. Doctor will just put you on meds. That's 100% correct. When I was in the hospital, they did not put me on a probiotic. They told me I didn't have any good bacteria in my body, but they put me on a medication that was, like $1,000 a month, um, and it was essentially a very strong antibiotic.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it helped me feel better, but it didn't last. And Heather, crazy thing is, Heather in her 20s went through a similar sickness to what I was going through. And the only thing that cured her was a probiotic.
Oh
And
wow.
so when I came home from the hospital, she was a godsend in my life. Like she literally saved my life. And probably many more ways than one, and many more times than one. But she took me to the place where she got the probiotic, and I immediately started it, and that was like the path to heal myself. Because I don't understand, like Chrissy's saying, I don't understand why a doctor wouldn't prescribe a probiotic,
Right.
or tell you to take. You don't prescribe it; just go to the store and get it.
Right.
Um, because there's no money in that. But that's another conversation for another
All
day.
those kickbacks they get from the drug companies. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
another conversation for another day.
Right. Not on YouTube, right? Because I don't want to end up in a ditch somewhere. Would love to go for a walk and chat anytime with you, Victoria.
I would too, Donna. We should do that.
Larry is here now. He was transitioning from his phone to his computer. Hi, Darlene. Hey, Darlene. Just so you know, I got the card, or Spike got the card today. Um,
Oh,
and one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold all the cards until the morning of Christmas Eve when I go over and make his breakfast. And we got a bag right now, so I'm collecting. I feel so guilty because I go and collect his mail and I take it to him, and I make sure I get my mail first, so I have my mail in my hand, so I can stick his cards in with my mail,
oh,
and I just say, "Hey, I was out grabbing my mail.
and here's
Here's yours."
yours.
And I'm like, I'm committing a crime. I'm keeping his mail. Um,
But you're doing it with a good thing in mind.
that's right.
I need
Well,
to get I need to go get stamped.
if I robbed a bank intending to give it to an orphanage, it's still a crime, right? So I'm like, I told Heather earlier, I'm like, I feel so guilty. But Christmas Eve morning, when I go make his breakfast, I'm going to take over a gift bag with all the cards in it.
Aw.
And I am so amazed by how many people have offered to send a card, and now they're starting to come in, and it's like, this is pretty cool. Like people that I know personally, like, and it's funny because these people that I know personally, they don't know Spike. They sent Spike a Christmas card. They've never sent me a Christmas card, but they
Aw.
sent Spike one. I'm not asking for Christmas cards, guys. I have enough stuff to sort through, anyways. It's just funny. Anyways,
Yeah.
I digress.
People are just good.
They
Most people
are.
are just really good people.
Yeah, I love it. And so, Darlene, thank you for the card. He's gonna get it on Christmas Eve. Donna, first thing my doctor did was recommend the right probiotic. Well, that's awesome.
That is
And I
great.
honestly think the doctor that I have now, because we go to one that is more focused holistically, so I know they're going to give much different advice than former doctors that especially the doctor I had back then, who literally would write you a prescription for anything.
I hate a
Um,
doctor like that. I mean,
and now
and
he's an
someone else.
amazing man. He left his practice to go take care of homeless people in Arizona
Aw,
medically. Like he's a good man, but you know the pharmacy is his friend.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
and again,
left a
I'm going to
doctor
stop
like
talking
that
about that.
because that's
Yeah,
all he. I mean, I'd go in and I'd say, I need a drug for this. Okay. I mean,
here
come
you go.
on, don't let me
Right.
diagnose myself. Yeah, me and Todd had the same doctor. He stayed with him. He's still with him, but I love,
Yeah.
I loved him. My
Well,
goodness,
Todd's going to make sure that you still get your drugs.
yeah,
Todd, tell him your knee hurts.
no.
I have taken one for years and years, but this one was much better. Awesome. Yeah, I have learned that the probiotic that worked best for me was a refrigerated one. Um, and it's crazy that, in this little pill, all these microorganisms are actually going to help me, right? Normally, we're trying to get foreign things out of our body. And meanwhile, I'm injecting millions of them orally, kind of
Donna,
thing.
those pills that you sent me, those are probiotic, right? That's I haven't started them yet, but I need to. Um, I need to start those. They're sitting on the counter. I just don't. I haven't started them.
If it's a probiotic, you will not regret taking it at all.
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a probiotic in it.
I think this. I don't know. I don't think this is the comment.
Those are awesome. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Spike will love it. Thank you. All of my doctors are very open to holistic options. The last doctor I had before these ones I'm going to now was the same way. Was open to it, but now he went from an private practice to working at the hospital, and so he is, in my opinion, owned by the university. But again, I'm going to stop talking about that because I don't want to end up in a ditch. She used to use a refrigerator one. They are awesome. It's what's recommended. Yep. The yepper was for all the illegal activity. Laugh out loud. Okay, awesome. All right, we're caught up. Somehow with the chat that we've had, I have lost a few watchers.
Oh
So if you were pharmacists, I apologize if I've offended you. Um, I'm gonna literally go to this pharmacy later today or tomorrow to pick up prescriptions for
I,
Spike.
I don't
So
think that you've offended them. I really don't. I don't think so.
or maybe they're affected by this next trigger and they've gone to get something to eat, and that is boredom.
Oh my God.
Boredom.
That's my worst trigger, I think. Even though I'm a really busy person, like all of us are,
Yeah.
you can be busy and bored at the same time.
Oh yeah. You could be bored with what's keeping you busy.
Exactly. Boredom is huge, huge
Yeah.
for me.
It's like I have nothing to do. I should be eating right now.
Exactly.
Or you know what? I I have a show in about an hour or two that I want to watch, but I don't have anything to do between. But I know if I bake a cake, it's going to take about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. The brownies will be done. Meanwhile, in the meantime, you know what's good with brownies, and then you're checking to see if you have vanilla ice cream, and then I don't want to eat any garbage, so I'm going to make my own whipped cream. So you're getting the heavy whipping cream out, and who else am I making hungry right now?
Me?
Getting the can of Spanish peanuts out, the hot fudge, all that. I haven't eaten that stuff in so long, and I can still remember what it tastes like.
Yeah.
But
But you know
anyways,
what? If you ever eat it again, it's not going to taste as good
it's
as what
going
you
to taste
remember
different.
it.
You're right. I know.
It won't.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you that goes for everything except the brown bread at Cheesecake Factory. because I have cheated and had a piece or two of that, and it tastes just as wonderful.
Really?
Just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. You can go 6 months without eating bread, and Cheesecake Factory brown bread still tastes amazing.
Okay, so let
Um,
me let me let me reference that with saying this. Most everything is not going to
yeah,
taste
yeah,
the way that it would
that's
when
right.
you remember
That's
it,
right.
that your brain remembers it as tasting.
Maybe I should tell you brown bread from Cheesecake Factory tastes awful.
Oh, awful.
Stay away from it. Is
I'm glad
bad stuff.
I'm glad that we don't have a cheesecake factory anywhere near me. It's like an hour away.
Come on. That's the first place I ever went to Cheesecake Factory was when I was in Jacksonville.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow.
In 2003, I think it was. And I was working for Washington Mutual Bank. And I was there doing some training for a month. I was training people. And it was getting close to the time I was leaving. And the people that I was working with wanted to take me out to dinner. And so they're like, we're going to go to Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, I don't like cheesecake. And they're like, well, it's a restaurant. And I was like, okay, as long as there's other things to eat besides cheesecake, I'm in. And so um, I went out to eat with them, and I'm looking at the menu, and it's all like, I mean, in 2003, I was like 21 or 22, maybe. I was 21 years old, and I think, and I'm like, maybe 22, and I'm like, basic eater. You know what I mean? I'm like, this food's too fancy. And I got something that was called a factory burger, and it was a cheeseburger on the Italian baguette and French fries. Like that was my trip to Cheesecake Factory. And so we're sitting there, we're having a good time, and all of a sudden they start clapping and coming over, and they're carrying a piece of cheesecake with candles on it, and they're all ready to sing. And I'm thinking, who am I here with that it's their birthday? And they set it in front of me and started singing happy birthday to me. I was there in April. My birthday is in October. I'm like, you guys, it's not my birthday. They're like, shut up. They already know it's not your birthday. We're just embarrassing you.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
so they gave me something called Adam's favorite cheesecake. And it's like a peanut butter, whatever. And it's literally now one of my favorite cheesecakes.
So now
Um,
you like cheesecake.
oh, yeah. Oh,
There
yeah.
to
But I
blame.
go to Cheesecake Factory almost every Sunday with Heather, and I do not order cheesecake.
But Donna did make a comment. Let me read it now. She said, "And it's okay to have those wonderful things here and there. Not every
Sure.
week, but here and there, yes."
Yeah. And so here's what it was. So every time I was going to want to eat bad, going through this journey for myself, I would ask my doctor, "Is it okay if I?" Because Heather and I celebrated our wedding anniversary through this. We celebrated Heather's birthday through this. We had other birthdays. We had the Fourth of July. We had Memorial Day. We had Easter. And I would say to him, "Is it okay if I eat?" And he would say, "Yeah, it's okay." He's like, "You gotta be careful though, because sometimes if you make it okay, then it's okay next time,
Yep.
and it's okay again, and it's okay again. And so you have to know you.
Right.
Like I always would say. So after he would say that, and I would say, "Yeah, I don't have enough miles behind me yet. I don't have enough miles behind me yet," because the reality is, if you have goals, if you're setting goals, and we talked about goals in weeks before, um, you're not going to get your goals if you're making these exceptions too many times. And when you go on carnivore and you make an exception, you will gain weight. Like like if I was to eat at Cheesecake Factory and just go for it,
Hmm.
I'll gain 3 or 5 pounds,
Oh my gosh.
and it will take me a week to lose that weight again.
So then you have all
So
week to regret what you really, really
right.
enjoyed for that 1 hour.
And if you don't have control over yourself, you'll just say, "I screwed it up." And the next thing you know, you're going to make another bad choice and another bad choice and another bad choice. So you just have
Yep.
to use
Yep.
discretion. You just have to use discretion. Be careful. Hold yourself accountable to other people. We talked about all of the things to prepare you to get there. But yeah, so before I left Jacksonville, real quick, before I left Jacksonville, um, it was my travel day. I got to work a food allowance for the day. Every day I got $50 for my company. And so I was going to be traveling most of my day to go home. And so I'm like, I'll just grab something to eat on the way home from the airport. I'll stop at a drive-through because I was not focused on weight loss at that point in my life. And so I went over there to the airport or to the Cheesecake Factory early in the morning, well, probably like 10 a.m. on the way to the airport, and I said, "Can I like buy like a whole Godiva chocolate cheesecake?" And they're like, "Well, you can, but the only ones we have are frozen." And I was like, "Perfect, because I'm going to New York." And so it was $50 even. So
Wow.
I spent my day's food allowance on a chocolate cheesecake, and when I got home, I gave it to my mother.
Aw, that was so nice of
So
you.
yeah, well, I'm sure I shared it with her, but I brought it home for her.
Yeah.
So boredom, boredom is a trigger to overeat. Patrick stopped by. I see that real quick. Um, sorry, hold on one second. Um, what happened? I boredom is a trigger. We find ourselves. I said this last time. Right when we're bored, what do? We go and make sure the light on the refrigerator still works. So we open the door, and if you're anything like me, you'll walk away a few times to go back and check and go check and go check, and
Like
then
it's changed. What's in
yeah.
there?
In the meantime, you're trying to figure out what can I eat that's not that bad.
Yep.
Um, loneliness is a trigger. Loneliness. Um, 2020 did this to a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, it did.
The isolation, there was a lot of weight gain and poor health that wasn't directly from COVID because of loneliness. There were so many. I'll be honest with you. I know someone that went to his food wasn't his problem, but in 2020, I actually have a video on my YouTube channel about being humble and kind. It talks about an employee that I had staffed somewhere that literally I helped get back on their feet from a time of alcoholism in their life. And when 2020 happened, they got furloughed from their job and they retreated.
Yeah.
They were alone and they ended up dying. Um,
Mm.
and so 2020 is a perfect example of that trigger of loneliness driving us to an unhealthy behavior.
Mm.
Um, food is safe, right? Food will never leave us. Food is always there. Um,
These are the lies
and
we tell ourselves, you guys.
right. But that was after we got past the we need to sanitize everything and it's going to make us
Right.
super sick just from touching it.
Yeah.
But loneliness is real. Um, and it is much better to humble ourselves and pick up the phone or do something to distract ourselves to connect with somebody somewhere. Maybe it's join a YouTube chat. Maybe it, if you're restricted and you can't go somewhere, it's better for if you're someone like me that's subject to overeating or making poor choices. It's better to let the loneliness trigger you to a healthier activity
Right.
than an unhealthy one. Stress. I
Huge.
mean, how many times do we hear people say they're stress eating? Right?
That's a
You
huge
know,
one for
you're
everybody.
either eating your fingernails, right? Which I've never done, thank God.
Me neither.
But
Me either.
my mother or my father-in-law and my wife are great at chewing their nails.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry,
and
Heather,
I
but
feel so bad for them. I feel so bad because once you start, it's like, oh, now I got to even it out.
oh,
And but so people are stressing. They're either eating their fingernails or they're going to the refrigerator or the cupboards and making bad choices.
yeah,
Um, it's a very common emotional trigger. But we can consciously choose something else to manage that stress. That's the reality. I think when we come down to all these triggers, we have to consciously choose what happened. She only bites her fingernails when they break. My father-in-law
oh,
bites his fingernails all the time. She said her sister also bites her fingernails. I have to be
okay.
careful because she watches the YouTube with me now, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I saying that's going to get me in trouble? Or sometimes, some guys, perception is not always reality either. So sometimes things aren't always the way you see them or think that they might have happened, and
Right.
so um, you know,
Communication is key.
sometimes you got to get fact checked. Um, I love her, and she doesn't bite her fingernails all the time. So I sit corrected. Um, fear is another one. Fear, uncertainty, right? You don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. It's like, I think I'm gonna sit here and have something to eat. I'll do this.
Hey,
Hey,
Roman.
Roman, how are you? And then lastly, that's all of them. Boredom. We covered them all. So here is my tips for when it comes to triggers, and then we're going to drop the link because it has been a long time. So, how about it? She's coming to show her fingernails.
Heather,
I had fingernails.
you do.
Are you gonna bite them off?
She's going to beat me later.
She's going to use those fingernails to rake them down.
Right, exactly. And the next time you see me, I have big scratches across my face. Just say, there you go. Show them I got fingernails. Now. All right. So, number one, recognize your triggers. Call them out, right? They have a name, use it. Point it out. Because if they remain unknown in your life, they can remain attendant in your life. Are you watching that chat to see if she says something?
I was reading what Roman said.
I bite my fingernails off all the time or use commercial saw to cut them. We're talking about fingernails, not toenails, Roman. So, A, recognize your triggers, call them out, give them a name. 2, accept the fact that they're there. Sometimes we think if we just deny it that it's happening, it doesn't happen. Guess what?
True.
We've seen it so many times just in life. You can't deny that something is happening and wish it away, okay?
Right.
So accept that the trigger is there. Number 3, address it. So do something to change it, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? That's a law.
Yeah.
So for every trigger, there needs to be an equal and opposite reaction. Number 4, pivot and adjust. So make changes so that moving forward, that's no longer a trigger. So you've addressed it, you've identified it, you've recognized it, you've identified it, you've accepted that it's there, you've addressed it, made changes. Now you're going to pivot and move in a different direction, and then move on to the next situation.
And you guys, that information that he just gave you, stop, recognize it, think about what you're doing, pivot and do something different. You can use that in all aspects of your life. You could use
For
it when you're
sure.
fighting with a spouse. You could use it, when you're fighting with your children. You could use it in traffic. In any type of stressful situation. So this is excellent advice to use in all aspects of your life. And the more you use it, the more you're going to recognize and stop and pivot.
When you tell a room full of strangers that your wife bites her nails and she doesn't.
We're not strangers.
Well, some people are. We have 13 here. Not everybody's talking, so I'm not sure it was all here. Yeah. So there might be a stranger here or there. There's plenty of family, but all right. So we saw Patrick show up, and Debbie says bingo. I said something that she agreed with. Yep. Roman, welcome in, my friend.
Hello, my little
bite
friend.
his fingernails. Doing bad sometimes feels so good.
Debbie!
It does. It does. Until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Usually stay away from spells, especially when they chase me. Donna. And here's the link.
All right, you guys, come on in and chat with us about this.
If I push the star, does that pin it?
It should. No,
I'm in StreamYard.
You have to be on YouTube to pin it.
Can you pin it?
I
Probably
can't.
not, huh?
No, only channel owner can pin it.
All right, hold on. I was trying to go this whole time without opening YouTube. Triggered.
Well, once you get it open, you can go ahead and give Patrick Murphy a wrench, and then there was somebody else that needed a wrench.
Marjorie.
Marjorie needs one too. There you go.
Patrick, I thought had a wrench at one point, but
YouTube takes away wrenches like water. They take away wrenches all the time.
that ain't right.
That ain't right. You're right. You're right. That ain't right.
All right, it's pinned. They've both been wrenched, and I just closed it again. So let's see who's going to show up, guys. We're about 15 minutes until the end here. I can probably go longer if something happens, but probably not. I don't know. I think an hour is good. Okay, so what did I miss here? I was making supper, Darlene. So sorry, Darlene.
Oh, Darlene
No,
said
go
hi
ahead,
to
Debbie.
Larry and Debbie. I think that's what.
Oh, they were just being rude. Sorry, Darlene. They were just being rude.
I gotta go make supper after this. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do for supper. I keep forgetting what day it is. For some reason, a few times I've said it was Tuesday, and Tuesday they have buy one, get one 50% off wings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Ooh. No, today's Wednesday.
Yeah, and I could just order the last time I ordered, just reorder it, and I get the same deal. So
oh, nice.
That's a hack. Hopefully, Buffalo Wild Wings corporate's not watching and will fix that.
Hey, hopefully they are. Aw, Darlene, you're exhausted.
I feel much better since I stopped eating bread 6 months ago. And Roman, I stopped eating bread in April as well. I have had Cheesecake Factory's brown bread a couple of times. And it didn't make me feel anything but wonderful. Although I did feel guilty. Tuna fish sandwich here and veggies. All right. All right.
I went
to... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Okay. I was going to say we got this. We used to do HelloFresh like 3 or 4 years ago. And so I'm still on their email thing. And every once in a while I get an email from them. I tried to delete myself from it. And you know how that never works because they just keep sending me. Anyway, we got this thing where they were going to give us like $150 off over like 8 deliveries. So I signed us up. Now, this is before I signed myself up for Weight Watchers. We got our first delivery last week. So what we had one of these meals, actually 2 of them. I did not realize how calorie laden some of those meal delivery meals are. Because this meal that I made on Monday, my very first day doing Weight Watchers plus my pills, 880 calories and 43 grams of fat for the meal that we were going to have that night. So I took that meal and I divided it into 3. It was pork, tacos. I took it and I divided it into 3 tacos. So I'd have 1 each night.
Yeah.
And it equaled up being like 10 points or something. Before it was like 31 points for that meal. Well, I only get like 34 or something like that a day, 28 or something like that a day. So I divided them. Hey, Donna. And I entered into my Weight Watcher app last night the recipe, but I made it with fat-free or 98% fat. You know, I made it with all good ingredients, not like full fat crap. You know how many points that recipe is now for the whole thing? I can actually the whole tacos, 10 points.
Nice.
How
fixed that.
Yeah,
I know.
How many points a day do you get?
I get like, hold on, I'll tell you. I can
never. It was
remember.
Like 26 when Heather was on it. She got 26.
Okay, I get. Let me look at tomorrow.
But that was like 12 years ago.
23.
How many?
Is what I get.
23, and your meal was 10.
Right.
Forget about it. I'd be dead.
But with my meals now, with the new plan, chicken, like I think it's any type of chicken is free. Fruits are free. Vegetables are free. A lot of stuff you could eat on just the free stuff because it's mainly your low carb stuff. Like, wasn't it Donna? You were saying you eat mainly low carb now?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty keto-ish. You know what I mean? Not like perfect keto, but that's funny, Roman. Every time I go to an estate sale and there's Weight Watchers calculators, I grab them because they're just giving them away and I sell them immediately.
Wow.
Yeah, they would just give it to a fat guy like me probably. They'd be like, yeah, you can have that.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started Weight Watchers, I was like 18 years old. I mean, this has been a long
Okay.
journey for me. They had the calculator was this little thing that you pulled up, and you
Oh,
go
okay.
like,
Yes, I remember that.
you remember
Yeah.
that?
Well,
Let's
I mean, I
do
never
that.
had one, but
I bet
yeah.
that's worth some money today. That little
Right. I bet it is. Yeah.
They sell so fast. As soon as I list them, they're gone.
wow.
Matter of fact, it's funny. My mom, who has, been on her weight loss journey forever, now she's on the pills and she's doing really well. But she's trying to be mindful. You cannot say, "Oh, I'm on this to help balance and fight your balancing of your leptin, left and right, with treats and sweets and thinking you've got like an open thing." And that's what I need to stress with everybody that's using it. You
Yeah.
have to have some sort of structure. And if you have issues with triggers, the little demons, gremlins that come and get you, those are emotional things. Those are mindful things that you need to work on yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And that
Yep.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're taking the pills that me and Donna are taking or not. You still need to work on those, even if you're
Yeah, they're
just
the root.
watching what you're eating.
They're the root of the real issue. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
isn't the big enemy. It's overindulging and going with the triggers instead of dealing with the trigger a different way, like checking the refrigerator light. Yeah, checking the refrigerator light. Well, now you can go in there and say, wow, this refrigerator needs cleaning out, and start wiping it down. I hate cleaning the refrigerator. So if I make my chore to clean out the refrigerator every time I open the door, mindfully,
Right. Yeah, if it was a chore, I would avoid it for sure. Ask Heather.
I hate cleaning out the refrigerator.
Yeah,
try
so
to do it every week.
I asked Heather to go get this for me because this is excuses, but you could have replaced it with triggers. We need to choose to be stronger than it, but like you said, Don, we have to work it out, and work past it. And it sometimes is that uncomfortable chore, like cleaning out the refrigerator, and like Victoria says up there, I can and I will.
Yep.
Um,
For that, Adam.
Having some structure, having some guidelines, but really dealing with the emotional triggers, especially. And that's like, I did like the way you said, not enough miles under your belt. After doing the plan that I lost 130 some pounds on
Yeah.
for a year and 3 months, I had so many miles that food does not like, I don't look at it or hear, like in Victoria's chat, people start talking about donuts and I don't instantly, oh my God, I want a donut, you know?
Yeah, right.
I don't have that. I broke a lot of that association to, highs and lows.
The last 2 months since I stopped Optavia, I have wanted that donut. It's been a hard road for me to
I
try and
know.
get back.
I could tell. That's why it's
really
like,
hard.
and we do need to move our bodies. So anytime you want to get on the phone and walk for 20 minutes and chat,
We will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I agree. I need to move more.
You need to take the time to move, and just moving around the house isn't enough,
I want to you just posted something that Debbie said. I want to comment on that. She said, "Dude, making holiday fudge and sweets for mom to take to the Christmas party Saturday. I cut off micro thin slices." That is funny, Debbie, but you know what? I had bought chocolate fudge and peanut butter fudge for the tray that we had here for our Christmas party for the neighbors on Saturday. I couldn't leave that stuff alone. Every time I went in the kitchen, I'd get not just one piece, I'd get like a handful of it. So what I did is on Saturday, I got fed up with myself, Sunday night, I got fed up with myself and I said, this has to stop.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, and you know what I did with the rest of that fudge? I took it to my mother when I met her for lunch on Monday.
If it's something that you don't have that
exactly
power against, you have to do something.
Of course, my mom's like, why am I getting all the fun? I'm like, well, because you're not starting Weight Watchers today and you're not on the pills. So.
You're going to start it next month, though, because you just ate all that fudge.
Exactly.
Yeah, warning, Mom.
Yeah, for me, like, that's another thing, like, the holidays where I wasn't tempted at all. But that's just how I'm wired now. because it's okay. And Heather and I have talked about it. And for me, like, I made these choices because I looked at it like, if I don't, I'm going to die. And
that
helped me take it serious.
That's how I had this success. I mean, I didn't regain my weight until, and not all of it, thank God, but 60 some pounds of it, of the 140, I think it was 137. I regained some during Mike being sick, me not focusing on my diet, and me sitting, eBaying all day long, sitting, and or helping him. My biggest problem during that was not eating enough. I was working against my body instead of things. But
your choices too. You were probably picking fast.
I was picking things at midnight. Because no, it wasn't good. But I've known that I needed to be back on track and all. But there's still.
And you know what? It takes each individual person to know when you've hit your point of, okay, I'm stopping and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do good. And you know what? It might take you more than one time.
Yeah. Back in 2009, I literally had a stent placed in my heart and had warning signs of a heart attack. I got out of the hospital that Monday morning and I started my weight loss plan.
That would have been terrifying.
Yeah, I was 40 years old, looking at my kids saying, I'm going to die. I'm not going to see all the things. And I was already dealing with cancer and you name it anyways. So mine was definitely health focused, which is why I had the most success. When I watched people that did the same plan as me, that were focusing on, I want to be in that dress by Christmas. I'm going to when it's focused on an event, that's not going to stick.
It's situational,
Yeah, you're going to lose that same 50 pounds over and over again if it's not for the root reasons of your health, really.
Which losing that same 50 pounds over and over again, that is worse than if you just didn't lose it in the first place.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so much more taxing on your body to, have to have dealt with it, worked hard to get rid of it, came back, it's...
because those pounds always bring back their friends too. I have never lost weight and then gained without gaining more than I had lost.
Well, that was one time that I definitely didn't. I mean, I've kept 80 pounds of it off, but still it feels horrible to let it happen again.
Yeah.
Sure.
But so now I'm hacking away at that.
Well, we don't want to be like Sisyphus, right? Sisyphus is constantly he was rolling the rock up the hill only to have it roll back down, to roll it back up again, to roll back. Like we don't want to be Sisyphus with our weight loss.
No.
But metabolism that way too.
For sure, yeah. But I think, guys, don't give up if you're feeling like Sisyphus, because at least you're trying to roll the rock back up the hill. Let's not just let the rock keep rolling downhill.
But I see where people crawl into a hole and they get in the pit of darkness and they don't,
Right.
Then you've got everything piled on top of it. You're overweight. It's harder to exercise when you're overweight. You've got all these cards stacked against you.
And then your health problems come back.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my MS got so much better after losing that weight. My back, everything,
I was telling, I guess it was on the show this morning, the morning show. My numbers for my diabetes have been so good since I started back eating healthy since Monday. Well, they haven't been over like 130, 40, something like that. They've been excellent.
Yeah, I mean, think about that when, like I really do believe in, I don't want to exclude a total food group. You know what I mean? I think that everything in moderation, but it can be a slippery slope if you do not have the miles behind you.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So Roman says here, joints suffer with a lot of weight. I remember when I was a while back when Advocare was a big thing, I had someone that was an advocate coach. He was also a bodybuilder, owned his own gym, and he gave me a deal. But one thing he told me was, for every 10 pounds of weight you lose, you take 40 pounds of pressure off of your knees.
Dang.
Yeah.
And so if you're somebody that's suffering with pain, 10 pounds can change that. It's not going to take your pain away, but it's going to make it a lot less.
Hey, Nana.
Hey, Nana. That's huge. 10 pounds of weight will take 40 pounds of pressure off your knees. Is that what you said?
That's what he told me. Yep.
Those are things that we have to keep in the forefront of our mind while we're on this journey. You know what I mean? Because that stuff should trump the triggers. The good.
Oh, for sure. Right?
Should trump the triggers.
When you keep it out in front of you, it will.
Yes.
Oh, and your lips. Dang.
It has to stay real to us. It has to stay tangible. Like if I would have, Heather and I were talking yesterday, and so that's when I brought up the whole, like, I literally had to look at it like I was going to die, because for probably 5 years, I knew I probably should have been doing something to address my blood sugar. We'll be real, my diabetes. And I didn't, because the last time I was at the doctor's, I was just pre-diabetic. And so by avoiding it, right, it wasn't real. And, Heather would say, if going to the doctor's is at least going to have you take medicine, so that you're still around, I guess, go for it. But the reality is, so many people get on that. I'm talking about type 2 diabetics, people that are diabetic because of their eating choices and their weight. Most of them, let's be real, a lot of them, I don't want to just make assumptions, but it's very common that we maintain it with medication and then don't change anything.
Right.
And so I could have just went on the medication and then let it change it, but I didn't want to. Because it was expensive to me. Right. It was money. I could be spending that money on other stuff. And so I was taking more and more and more medicine, and things weren't changing. And I'm just like, okay, I need to make a drastic change. And I did, and it's held. But real quick though, where'd it go? Roman says, a New Year resolution, stop eating and start running. That's a funny one. He put a laugh face, right? He's not literally going to stop eating. He's probably not going to start running either. But guys, there's 17 days left this year. Oh my gosh. In 17 days, it is New Year's Eve. And we are a day before 2023 in 17 days. And this is when people make a lot of hopeful statements or false statements, right? I'm going to. But I want to encourage you to think about it. And so we have, before the new year, we have 2 more shows. So I'm probably going to make that 28th show a show where we talk about going into the new year, right? Yeah. Let's plan. And so I want you to think about some choices. Let's not call them New Year's resolutions, but let's talk about some life changes or choices, healthy choices we want to go into the new year with. Because the reality is, we're back to what we were talking about all along, right? We have to make real, tangible choices that are going to affect the way we live. And I don't want to be one of those people that make a New Year's resolution that I'm then depressed and sad, and I'm going to my triggers or my vices, because on the 4th of January, when we're having our first show of the new year, I already failed my New Year's resolution. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to talk about that then.
Maybe we should make the New Year's resolutions like 1 a week. Don't pile on a ton right on the first.
Yeah, maybe it's not a New Year's resolution. It's a healthy this habits. Week resolution.
Right.
Healthy habits. What am I going to put in?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that. I like that.
And it's one of these. I'm not going to put a time limit on, because a New Year's resolution says next year I'm going to. The reality is we need to make changes for the rest of our lives. But it's that whole, how can you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time.
Yeah.
We have to tackle this in a reasonable manner. Roman's not going to run. His knees hurt. He can only walk now.
Gotta start somewhere.
Nana,
can't run.
I will drop 10 more pounds by New Year's. Do it. Let's do it. There are things that can be done, choices that can be made. Let's. So what do we got? We got 17 days. I mean, it can be done. But don't be disappointed by if you drop 3 pounds by next year, because I I don't know. I'm big into Christian music. And there's a guy. His name's Big Daddy Weave. His name's Michael Weaver. He's called. If you watch he has like YouTube videos talking. Basically like testimonials going into his songs and whatnot. And he talks about why he's called Big Daddy Weave. He's like, you don't live in the South and have a name like Big Daddy without being a Big Daddy. But he had a challenge that he wanted to lose a certain amount of weight by a certain time, and he lost like 90% of what his goal was.
Oh,
and
wow.
The last day, and he lives a very public life, right? And he had told everybody that this was his goal, this was the time, and he didn't make his goal. And he was trying to lose weight, and he got into such a depression because he missed it. And it's if you Google my Big Daddy Weave, I am redeemed testimonial, you can find that YouTube video where he talks about it. But don't be like Mike and get discouraged when you made it so far. But this thought plagued me for my 40 by 40. Because I'm like, if I get 39 by 40, I'm going to be so disappointed. Because you lose sight of that great accomplishment you've had because you didn't meet that one mark. So that's another thing with New Year's resolutions. They need to be targets that we're aiming for and not hard, fast goals where if you miss, you missed. No. What did they say? If you shoot for the stars, you're aiming really high, right? You're gonna hit something. You're gonna be way above if you were shooting for the gravel, right? Or the telephone line if you're shooting for the stars. And so,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, that I'm just getting ready to bring it in for a landing kind of thing. So, just saying, like, on that is, if you don't make 10 pounds, that's okay if you make 3, but shoot for 10. If you're not going to be disappointed by getting 10, then aim for it. But don't be disappointed if you get 4. Don't be disappointed if you get 9.
Right. Be proud of yourself no matter what. I put in Big Daddy Weave, I am redeemed weight loss because I couldn't find it. I was going to post the link for everybody, but you might want to look for it because I couldn't find it.
For me, I'm also not focusing so deeply, especially on this product at the scale. Mm-hmm. Because did you watch Dr. Rimka's video? I think I tagged it. Oh, okay. It's on my YouTube. I'll send it to you. But
send me the link.
Yeah. So how it targets the internal, and some people are noticing because you got this fat, that it's around your organs, it's everywhere. And that's what this type of thing focuses on. That's why you see some people that have drastic inches because they weren't at all structured at all. And they, bam. And then you see some people that just lost 2 pounds, but they lost 15 inches. There's a lot of fat inside you around your organs. I remember even watching my hysterectomy. I know it's kind of gross, but watching my hysterectomy, which was robotic, through the camera, and I could see it looks like the demo little pieces of fat too. I could see fat around my organs, and that was when I was at my heaviest. So not that I want to go through hysterectomy, I'd love to see what these look like inside now. But that stuff is what it can choke your gut, it can choke your stomach, it can choke your colon. your digestion, all of those kind of things are important too. So for me, I'm again on health, not number on the scale.
Donna, I'm sorry, but oh, I am too.
It only happens.
That's weird.
Yeah, that just started when he put the headphones on.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
was
it's not
weird.
doing it anymore. I couldn't understand you though.
I said I'm just focusing on the health internally and not as much the external because it's all going to come together.
Yeah.
I want to lose the bad fat that's around all my organs and everything else because it'll choke your stomach, it'll choke your intestines, all of that, your heart.
Really, when you think about it,
about that,
if I have a choice, I would rather lose the fat around my internal organs versus losing actual weight. I told Todd, I don't care about the number on the scale. I want to look in the mirror and see a difference. You know,
right.
I want my clothes to feel better. I want my organs to feel like they're not so sluggish. You know, all that is so important.
Yeah, I'll send you the video because it is a good one because she talks about all of that fat gets around your organs. And your gut tied to depression, your gut tied to this, that, and the other. When you have all that fat choking around your heart, think about it. It's all putting a strain on your system. It's just not looking pretty. Yes, we all want to feel better. I feel 400 times better not having to yank at my bra, pull it down around a fat roll. You know, it's like.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Debbie. I think she put it up too.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the same one.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it is. It looks
Okay.
like it.
Yeah, the one that I sent you, he talks about that whole thing. But I'll tell you what, that's that concept I was going for. It's heavy. Our minds are powerful. You can either convince yourself that you can do something, or you can convince yourself that you can't.
Yeah,
That's true.
So we went late, guys. It's 5:45 my time. And poor Larry, he's been sitting over there, couldn't get a word in edgewise.
That's all right. Hey, I'm listening and learning.
All right. For sure, that's why if you get discouraged, it's because the scale doesn't change. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Heather shared something with me, and it was by a gym owner who is big on the carnivore diet, and he was talking about how a lot of times on the carnivore diet you've changed your body so much that the scale will sometimes go up.
Yeah, you're building muscle. You're building muscle.
But if you're looking in the mirror and you look better and you feel better, he said, throw the scale away.
Yeah.
Because you're getting better. And he said, I'm probably going to be the only gym owner around that's getting rid of all the scales in my gym because he said they're just not relevant anymore.
Yeah, I mean, doctors will even tell you if it's dictating your mood.
Yeah.
Then
don't step on it, right?
I mean, you can't hide your head under the covers if you're not doing the right things. But if
correct, yeah.
You're doing
if your pants are getting tighter, but you're happy, that's not good.
Yeah, no, different. But you see people on this journey, and some people it's a long, hard journey.
Yeah.
That they get on that scale. We called them scale whores in the day because they get on it 2 or 3 times, and it dictated how their day was going to start, their mood.
Yeah,
because they were motivated or not, or demotivated by the number on the scale.
Right, that's it. Yeah, and I've said this before when Victoria and I have just been on and talked about this because we've had a few different updates, kind of like when this was a monthly thing. Before it turned into, evolved into the weekly, earlier on, I had to tell myself when I would get on the scale, the scale is currently telling a lie because I know all the things I'm doing are going to prove the fact that story in this moment is incorrect. And you just have to, just create some space.
Yeah.
And the reality is, if we're doing what's right, and sometimes you do get in a rut and you get stuck and you have to change things up. But if you're in a place of healthy choices and doing the right thing, and the scale disappoints you, well, don't. Oh, great! I'm up 5 pounds, and 5 pounds is alarming. When it moves a pound, you're like, oh, what am I doing? And then you could say, forget it. I'm out this week, and the next thing you know.
Or I've stayed the same for 3 days,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, you didn't know on the time change you're supposed to turn your scale back a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. It's daylight savings time. Roll your scales back 10 pounds. Nana says, Debbie, are you saying goodbye? Debbie says, I've had all I can take. No, the reality is I started to land the plane, so she thought we were landing and she was going to get off. Listen, don't take your seatbelt off until the plane is stopped.
We're just
Yep.
taxiing the runway. That's all.
That's exactly. Please remain with your seatbelts fastened and your masks on. So, well, guys, we went a little bit long. I appreciate the three of you joining me and all of you all staying with me. Apparently, the people I offended from the pharmacy talk have returned. Because we have a larger audience than at that point. But
we do this
I appreciate you all.
Guys. Same time.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm excited to go into 2023 with all of you, and continuing to build this community because everybody needs support.
For sure. I'll get that link for the Facebook group updated, and because I'd love to see that develop. I don't care if it's huge. I have some friends in the carnivore community that have these massive Facebook groups. I don't need all that. What I do want to do is I want to build a group of people who can count on each other. To get through this thing. Let's
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's thrive and not just survive.
I was gonna say, I think it would be great if we could have like your notes from each of our get-togethers every week. Do outlines and say, okay, if you're working on accountability, go to this link, or because I think you can do that in the group somehow. Put stuff up. But and I've got some other ideas for the group too, so we'll talk about that later. Yeah, and
I'm gonna have to just go by what's on paper because I'm a preacher, and so I say a lot of things that I cover a lot of things. I'm like a shotgun. I cover it all, and I don't even realize or remember everything that I said, but I can get you the highlights that got me to at least where that conversation was.
But another thing you could do is if you don't want to do the highlights, you could always say accountability chat and put the link to this.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Each week and do whatever we talked about. And then when someone's having problems with certain areas,
go back to here.
That one and go watch it. Yeah.
And make sure.
And I got to figure out a way to keep the live chat on replay. When I set this up,
I get so annoyed when I go back to watch a replay with somebody and there's no chat available because there's often entertainment and good information in the chat.
Yeah. I gotta figure that out.
It's just a little check
box that I check, right? Yeah. Okay.
Bye, Debbie.
All right.
Bye, Debbie.
Bye, y'all. See you in the morning. All right, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. I appreciate y'all being here. And love you guys. Stay strong. Be stronger than your excuses. And remember that you can and you will.
Yeah.